Happy Easter. Happy Easter. And the wait is over. It's been such a long time since Draco Alchemicus Act I came out. And we are happy to announce that the second volume is now in print. Story time. Thank you so much to all of our Kickstarter supporters who have been so incredibly patient waiting for Act 2 to come out. The shipping department, aka Casey, should be in touch with you. And we, want to make sure everybody's addresses are updated, and we're going to get the books out to you. She has the books in hand now and is ready to ship them out. But we figured you'd want a little preview, so story time tonight. Welcome to the Mosaic Arc. Okay, I've got my copy. You've got your copy. Look at this. It's a book. It's a book. It's a book. It's a book. It's a book.
Honest to goodness book.
Oh my gosh. Well, so this is the only copy I have. She has boxes and boxes of the things. So,
I have several boxes, yes.
We should actually, for the newsletter, we should take a picture of like proof of print, right? It's like there's not just this one copy in my hands. I keep turning it the wrong way for the camera, right?
Oh, at least two.
At least there's at least two. There is not. I know all of you who are authors, and those of you who are wannabe authors, but definitely there is nothing like getting that box of books from your publisher. So Casey, you got to have that experience.
Twice now, yeah.
Twice. Now. when it shows up not just as this notional thing that you've been proofreading and proofreading and proofreading and editing and proofreading again, the copy editing on anything is a labor of love for sure, right? Because you're like, no, and that comma is out of place now. We must fix that. Yes. Oh, it's wrong. Cannot unsee. Okay. And that when the box finally shows up and you realize that it has taken on its incarnate self, right? It's impulped.
Yeah.
It's impulped reality that it's here physically in our hands. So we are just to say again, absolutely deeply over the moon grateful to those of you who have supported our Kickstarter and have hung in there with us while we've been working on getting this Act 2 about. We know
it's way longer than we thought it was going to be. We're really
well, as I think I've said in other contexts, like in the newsletters that we've been sending out over the last couple of months, there with Act 1 we were lucky. That there were a lot of things that went well in the right time, in the right place, and such like that. But it's a lot of moving parts, particularly with the illustrations. And then everybody, when we were calling for graphic designer in January, that doesn't mean the art.
Yeah,
it means graphic is the writing, and the graphic design was like taking Aisha's beautiful picture and putting headings and footers and spines, and look how beautiful this all is, right? But that kind of design work is, trust me, totally beyond me. if I do it, you're going to end up with like, the homemade campus style poster thing that you can, that I think will look nice. I will be absolutely reassured by people who actually do book design. No, it does not. And it's a gift, right? It's a gift to be able to put, all of these different pieces together. And so to the team behind the scenes and on the cover and thank you all so much for getting Act Two out. We're here.
Yes, we had good help when we needed it.
Yes. A lot of friends pulled together in the right moment at the right time to help us find the skills that we needed, and just trust us. No matter how much you use computers to do a lot of your work, you still need people who are skilled with doing that. So
Yeah.
it's it's not you haven't gotten yet to the point where I just say you just wave your hand at the AI and it does effortlessly makes everything for you like a wizard.
And do we want that?
Well,
So stay tuned to Act 6.
we seem to be kind of writing a story about that now, don't
Yeah.
we? Isn't that delightful? Yes. We mention every so often how we're writing along, and of course with certainly sort of there's sort of public announcement acknowledgments as well to come out that with the project this long, obviously life intervenes, and that we were with Act One, we had 5 writers, right? Me, Kimberly, Kilt, who and her published name is Jacqueline, Ken Ramsey, and Mel Wiggin. So Ken was there with us in the opening. And we can acknowledge that certain of the elements in it that we recognize. I think also like the casino setting. Didn't we get that from? Or maybe it was the horse races. With the group writing problem, it's sort of interesting. It's like, are there specific things that any one of us gave? I tend to forget, frankly. Right? It's like
it's easy to forget because a lot of times our ideas will come at the same time, or we'll just pick up on it and add to it. And it's a bit like cooking. Everything in a big pot,
Right.
Everybody's adding a little bit of something.
Well, in my experience with it is, I started this. It's wonderful now. I've like being at conferences again. I mean, some of the reason we don't, manage to live stream every week now is I realized we started the Mosaic Arc when we were based. It was like 2022, 2023. I was still not back fencing. So I wasn't out of town for fencing competitions and such. And I wasn't going back. I wasn't back at conferences. I wasn't we're not really back in the world fully because of COVID. Still, it was still kind of in semi-lockdown world in 2022, 23 because we were still in the problem of the mandates and not masking and vaccinations. And so the Draco Alchemicus was that dragon that was absorbing the world that we started writing. Right. And so we started streaming in that time, and now it's fun being back out in the world and seeing people and saying well, yeah, what did I do with when COVID came and lockdown and everything? I'm like, well, I started a poetry project.
Yeah, which is still going.
Is still going 6 years later. 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's 6 years later, right? But
I can't believe it's been long. Wow.
Can it be 6 years? It's like that's a long project, and I'm practiced in long projects because like dissertations tend to take 7 or 8 years. So we're still within like time frame for me of an academic project, and my books tend to take 8 or so years from opening research to publish. It 8 is fast. So I'm actually feeling like 2 books in 3 years is brilliant. Right?
Yeah. It's probably a good thing you kept that information to yourself 6 years ago.
See, I didn't tell you all what you were in for. It's like, come with me. We're gonna write just lines, just one line at a time, and with Centrism Games, it was 210 lines. How many lines is it? It's 30 times 7, 210 stanzas of 8 lines each.
Okay, yeah.
So there you go. and Aurora Borealis was 100 stanzas of 8 line each, and each of these is 100 stanzas of 9 lines each. So we added one. Right? Yeah, exactly. So the first book was with Zay Nuno Fraga as our artist and the team of 5 writers. Zay asked for our prayers. If you go to his Catholic Comics website, you'll find that he's gone off to peel turnips, which is he's entered the monastery, which is in fact what we knew he was. How do you call it? Being in, I think he's actually in the novitiate now, but he was a petitioner. No, discerning. That's it. He was discerning when he was doing the artwork for us in the first volume, and was worried about, like, if he left the world as he has now, what we would do. Like, how would we have our pictures if he had done them for our first volume and for our cards and for our poster, and a lot of the artwork on our website was his, and and when we were doing the Kickstarter to help fund the first volume and to hopefully get some startup for the subsequent volumes, Aisha got in touch with us, which is just like, who's now our artist for the second volume. And that feeling of serendipity and the right people show up at the right time for this moment of the project has been a real gift. It's really magnificent. But so with the second volume now out, we have myself and Kimberly and Jacqueline and Mel as authors and Aisha as artist. We have written with the team of these 4 writers also Act 3, and that one is now written. The production of the illustrations is ongoing, in terms of we still need to negotiate details on that volume. So
yeah,
be patient.
Yeah, the writing goes at a really good clip. We meet an hour a day, 4 days a week to do this, and it goes very quickly. But yeah, the illustrations take much longer.
Right.
We want them to be beautiful, which Alicia's are beautiful. They're just stunning. I just can't say enough good things about her artwork. Well, it's just beautiful.
And everyone, remember, we had her on last summer when she'd finished the pictures last summer, and we talked with her about her process and her work for us. But it's like a totally different level of interpretation that goes into the artwork from what we've written. Right, we write it and then we give it to her to illustrate, and of course, things that we don't even consider having as a problem for our writing. I mean, we're telling the story and we have the conversation and the narrative of the characters and things like that. But then we had to give her, sources for the pictures, which include things that aren't in the text. So, I mean, that was.
She did an amazing job of actually understanding what the heck we were talking about, because it's all in our heads and it's in the verse we wrote. So she has to actually put these 2 things together on her own and go, I think they want this. That's an understatement. She just really delivered. It was amazing.
Over the moon, around the moon, over the moon. Yeah, I know you've been watching the moon, the moon adventures. Right? So moon metaphors, yes. But so we've had to instruct her on the details and the images, and that was, in our ambition for the project. My not telling everyone that yes, it'll be a Jacob serving for Rachel exercise, and hopefully we'll maybe get Leia first, and then we'll get Rachel, which might take a little while.
Wait a minute, that's 14 years, wasn't it?
Hey, from when I started my doctoral dissertation to when my first book came out, that was 16 years. So it's like I served the 8 years for my dissertation, and then it was another 8 for my book.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Indentured servitude.
Yeah, well, something. But what's funny is, of course, when you're working on it, you're in eternity. It's like it's never going to be finished. It's why isn't this finished yet? Your family is hounding you. I mean, this is it's like anybody who's done a PhD knows this feeling, and it's any kind of artistic project, because they're not inside the creation. And so they don't understand what you're doing, right? And to a certain extent, you can't explain it. I mean, it's
Well, yeah, they don't understand the obsession, right? It must to them look like an obsession because it's like, no, I have to write. Well, can't you just? No, I can't. I have to write like right now. So they do it every single day at this time, and it's not that it's not that it's some kind of OCD. I have to meet at this time. It's just a commitment that you made to actually. Oh, that is that Dorothy Parker put it. Apply, ask to seat, and write. You have to actually do it.
right.
It's a discipline, and you can't, if you're going to be serious about getting it done, you have to actually just show up. And
Right. And I mean,
right.
and quite literally just, I mean, that I have my own, I mean, the way I've trained you guys to work together on this project is exactly, simply what I do with my own writing, which is
Mhm.
you commit to the brief regular sessions, which is the sort of my mantra, right? And it works whenever I'm with students and trying to explain to them, it's like, how do I start such a big project? Just like, take your timer. Um, and you work
Yeah.
10 minutes the first day, maybe 20 minutes the second day. I can, I use any project I do. Even something as, quote minor as a book review is an enormous hurdle. It's impossible, right? And so anything that I do like that, I'm working on a book review right now that even though I'd been reading the book, taking notes, making graphs and stuff like that, when I sat down to start writing the actual text, I was back in
Mhm.
panic, right? Okay, 10 minutes, right? You sit down, you work for 10 minutes, you stop, you come back the next day, you can do 20, blah, blah. You work up to these 48-minute sessions or, are writing
Mhm.
for an hour. And it's a kind of, I mean, the closest thing to magic I know, which is do it like that and then commit to starting when you are on, start when the time starts and stop. And we have, joked as a team about like you have to stop at the hour too, because after the hour in our writing in the poem, you get impatient, oddly, right? It's like, oh, we have to finish
Yeah.
this, or oh, we have to, to fix that.
And that's when the OCD kicks in. It says, no, we have one more line left. Let's just stay an extra 10 minutes.
No,
We
no,
have to
no,
get
no,
it
no.
done.
Danger, 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 right? Must stop now. And, and sometimes I'll have you having to do it to myself, right? It's like, oh, can we finish this? And like, and you'll be saying, no, it's time. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. Stop. To be continued. And you come
Well,
back.
to be fair to you, it works both ways. So she said the same thing to me too.
Now we stopped, right? So just the length of time, the regularity of it, the internal it's like whenever with anybody writing, it's always like, okay, I got it, I figured it out. And then your family and friends are all going, okay, you said that 6 months ago, why are you still wrestling with it? It's like, well, because the
Yeah.
figuring out is on these different layers of insight of at outline scale, at individual word scale, at image. It's like so it's this series of problems that you're solving over and over and over and over again that are, I mean, when it comes together, it's like, you're, it's not OCD so much as writing addiction, right? It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like we figured it out, that fits right there. Although if you like it too much, it's probably maybe you come back and it's like tomorrow. It's like, no, that doesn't work. Drat.
Oh yeah, you can be thrilled about something and go, yeah, let's scrap that. I thought better of it. Yeah.
We've got
I
some.
wish I
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was okay. I was going to say, I wish I'd known in advance we were going to discuss this about the discipline of like sitting down at a certain time every day.
Mm.
I don't know why. I saw something very funny a couple of years ago, and I think it was even before we met and I started writing poetry with you. It was a man taking a picture of his wife in the backyard, and she's getting a suntan, and he says, "This is my wife. She's working on her book."
Yes.
So everybody thinks about that and they want to avoid it. So it's either that I'm thinking about writing my book, or you do something silly like lock yourself in a room and say I'm going to write for 8 hours straight, and just
Don't
anything
do
that
that.
comes out because you feel like compelled to actually produce something because you don't want to be the woman suntanning in the backyard being made of. So.
Well, and both. So we've got our fellow writers in the chat. Kedra is saying, I'm glad that's normal. I still have trouble with the panic at the beginning of a homework project. Every
Mhm.
single time. And the thing is, yes, you will feel bad about it because you'll tell yourself for the rest of your life, oh, I should be over this. Wildly enough, it never works, right? It's like every single time. So it's always go back to basics. If you have to start something, anything you have to start, first day, 10 minutes, put it away. Second day, 20 minutes, put it away. And you must, I mean, it's like even in those beginning days, if you feel like, oh, I could keep going for 15 minutes, really stop. Trust me.
It's the same advice I heard about starting an exercise program. Just
Yes.
don't go overboard. Just do 15 minutes and then do 20 minutes and
Right.
then do 25 minutes. Yeah, same thing. I guess you're exercising your brain.
You are. And consider what happens if you try to exercise and you haven't been exercising at all. And you're like, I'm going to exercise. And you exercised for 8 hours.
Right.
You wouldn't walk for weeks.
That's
right?
a mistake. Yeah.
You'd be really
Yeah.
sore. You'd be miserable. You'd hate yourself. You wouldn't be able to work again. You wouldn't, and then you would, if you tried to exercise again, you probably wouldn't come back for a week. So the
Yeah.
irony of it is the more you try to binge doing it, the more you
Mhm.
end up, the less you do. Whereas
Yeah.
if you can do it regularly, which so this is to a certain extent to acknowledge and and thank the members of the team for persevering as long as you all have, because it's so Kilts, as everyone knows, we she left the Mosaic Ark under mysterious circumstances as far as we were concerned, but to understand that life happens, right? That
Mhm.
she was with us through writing Act III. Mel has been with us, and we finished Act IV, but now she's got a lot of stuff on her plate to take care of and such, and some
Mhm.
writing that she wants to do. So it's Casey and me now. This
Like it or not.
like well, but the thing is, I think this is also the reality. I just be sort of be gentle with yourself as a team, and if anybody out there who's tried to do teamwork of anything, right? You all know I was sort of calm about this even from the very beginning of the project. It was like, oh, we got 10 writers on Centrism games, and then we had 7 on Aurora Borealis, and I'm like, okay. And that even for something so simple as when I was taking fiddle classes back in the pre-COVID life, and
Mhm.
we would start a 8-week session. We were Old Town School of Folk Music, right? And we'd start the first class would be like 15 people, 10 people or something, a lot of people. And the second class would be 9. And these are only 8-week sessions, right? And people would sign up, and they're
Yeah.
all, energetic and hopeful, and they really, really want to be there. And everybody's, coming back. A lot of them would be coming back from having played violin or something, and like, okay. And by the end of the session, it was always the same 4 of us, right? And then we'd
Mhm.
sign up again. And, the thing is, I finally dropped out during COVID, so I'm now one of the vanished ones. And I think some of my friends who were the real musicians in it, they're still taking those classes with our teacher. But you commit and practice, and you need to, I think, in this works with that graduate education too. Be proud of yourself for the amount that you did, and whether you're in it for the short term, the long term, the medium term, or the long term, you do the work when you're doing it, and then the work is real, and that means it's important. People
Yeah.
no, because people get depressed, right? It's like if they end up not finishing X, Y, or Z. There's the time there. It's like there's a time for it, and there's a time for writing, and there's a time for other things. So
Mhm.
yeah. Yes, VA Boston saying, I need to get back to my own work. Family changes, have paused it for a month, and it nags at me. Yes. But the timing works out to be the best time somehow. It shall be finished when the time is right. Right. So
Mhm.
this is the balancing project of both write regularly, but also, and I get all of my advice on this from Professor Robert Boyce. You make writing a priority, but you don't make it take over your life. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense because for people who've never done it before, it becomes really intimidating. And it's still intimidating for me. And I've been writing with you for 6 years,
Right.
and even been publishing some things. And I think, well, I want to write something new. And then I'm like afraid to sit down and do it. And I'm not sure why. It's almost like standing at the edge of a cliff. It feels like that.
Every
Like an
single
impossible
time.
task
It
every
will.
time. Yeah.
No, and you know what I'm gonna say. Get your timer, 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's because so the sort of why is writing so scary? And this I think this goes with why we are being so brutal about people defaulting to using AI as their crutch,
Mm,
because you're trying to avoid this. You're trying to
that's a good way to put it.
no, it's like having the robot do your exercises for you.
Mhm.
You're trying to avoid this feeling of, I mean, whatever it is. It's like and what's curious, it's like transition from talking to writing. People can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and sit down to write, and they're like silent, right? There's nothing. It's the brain's gone blank. There's nothing to say. And
Mm.
you're thinking, but I knew this idea 3 seconds ago. How do I not have it now? Because it's a media shift. It's a phase shift, right? It's from
Mhm.
oral to written. I mean, whole cultures crash over that.
Well, it's like I can walk, how come I can't dance? Right?
Yes.
They're different skills. They're different skills. That's why.
Or I can walk, why can't I fence? Or ice skate? Or they're and the media transformation, which we've also talked a lot about, matters intensely because when you sit down to write, you are suddenly trying to translate, and this fits with what we've thought about with the illustrations too, that we can show things visually that aren't happening in the text, but it's all there in our imagination. So like
Yeah.
when it's in your imagination, you have to translate that. It's like, Harry Potter, like pulling threads out of your head. Translate
Mhm.
that into words. That's actually really hard.
Yeah.
And there's no shame whatsoever in feeling that it's hard, because it is. And
And
go ahead.
and we discussed this on it was either us or I know you and Kiltz did discuss this. You were
Mm-hmm.
discussing the Romantic Poets a couple of years ago on the Mosaic Arc, and emphasized how much these men practiced their craft of writing, like hours a day, where they would practice with words and rhymes and verse and meter, and it was like a drill.
Yes, and some of them drove
severe
themselves nuts
effort.
because they did it too much.
Yeah.
But yes, that it takes it. I mean, and that's been. I mean, and writing by yourself is incredibly difficult too, because you're having to do all this to yourself, right?
Mm.
I do this. Why am I doing this? So it's been, a great joy working on this project with you guys. It's a big team over the years, and the things of, um, write a line, somebody else comes up with a better version of it. We have to rewrite it 3 times. It's still not right. It's this sort of, and then you find out you're actually sort of hunting. The poem is out there somewhere already, and you're hunting for it. And I found a
Yes.
little piece of it, and you found a little piece of it, and maybe the only thing that someone contributed for a whole session was one word, right? But it was the actual word that we needed. So
Yeah,
that
a lock can hinge on one word. That's the absolute truth.
right, yeah,
There is such a thing as the perfect word.
in the right perfect word in the situation that we're in, because sometimes
Yes.
we'd get into arguments over like, well, I want to use this big fancy word, and I'm just going, it can't fit. You're trying to fit a too
Yeah.
big fancy, it's like a big
Right.
bauble on this whole poor little stanza that can't carry the weight of. And then other times, like there's a word, I think it's in Act 3, I remember, that you came up with, and it was like this really fancy word. It was exactly the electroluminescence, right? And it was like exactly the right word for that moment.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah, it's when the dragon shows up and it's electroluminescence, right? So it's all of these things, the right word in the right place in the right moment, in the sort of quest that we've been on to practice it and share. It's like a big, it's the well, you and Frodo and you I guess you and I are Frodo and Sam by this point, dragging ourselves up Mount Doom.
Yes.
Because
What are we going to throw into Mount Doom, though?
we don't know yet.
No.
We'll find out. Anyway, this is all to
AI.
say, guys who we've been writing for, thank you so much for hanging in there with us, because it's been quite the journey. And
Yeah.
it's fun knowing that we actually, we have the Kickstarter audience.
No, I'm really
behind
happy
us.
you haven't given up on us, and I wish we could have got it faster. We absolutely did the best we could under the circumstances.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, in retrospect, it's like the months and months and months that we were between having the illustrations and not being able to go to press was like an eternity to me. And it's like with a baby, right? You realize looking back on it, it wasn't as long as it felt.
Well, it almost was. It was 6 months.
Well,
3 more months, and it would have been a baby.
yeah, well, this is just the luxury of self-publishing, right? When I send in something for academic press, I sent in things. I spent my time on leave, not this year, but last year, writing all these articles, which still aren't published. I turn them in.
Oh.
They're going through copy editing, and the collection editors
That would
are
annoy me too.
having to they're still waiting on some of the articles for those edited volumes. All of us have been the last one on a volume at some point, right? Because just things happen at different paces depending on people's schedules and inspiration and life situations and so forth. And also just in my experience as an academic, not only as a fiddler, right, watching people come and go from classes, but putting together an edited volume, this is kind of like, that you start with a long list of hopefuls, and someone, this edited collection that I've been working on about the same amount of time we've been writing, right, in the sense that after COVID, I started working on it back in 2023, and it's hopefully coming out in the next year. It started out with like 15 or 16 authors, and it's 9 now. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And some of those were not even in the original list. And it's like things happen. And so any book that comes to press and comes to light is a miracle. of
baby.
Yes, and of collaboration, and a lot of behind the scenes designers, and we have to do our marketing, we have to do our find our own designers, blah blah blah. This has been an education for me as well, finding out how many of the things were done for me.
Oh, yeah.
You're at academic publishing, it doesn't pay anything, but everybody does the work for you.
Yeah.
Once you turn it in. Okay. Yes, and VA Boston says too, having started or tasted something still impacts you, even if a bit. Right. It's like maybe you fenced for 5 years and then you stopped. That's fine, right? Activities I've tried but dropped still sit with me in some way. I played fiddle for 8 years. I knit. I was knitting all through graduate school, and then once I started teaching, I just didn't do that anymore. But that was like 8 years of knitting, swimming, piano. I've got a lot of things that I did for about a decade, and then had other things come in life. VA's talking a lot, but 2 books in 3 years is great. Yes, they are shorter works, but they still require a lot of work and care, not to mention the artwork. Thank you. Most people can't get out so many works in the time DCR has. Yes, you appreciate the reality of it. Poetry. So John Myers saying digital is nice because you can get it early, and it's rather light in heft, but that doesn't have the same impact. Right, and so there is an ebook version. And I've updated the links on our shop through our shop on the website, and Amazon Genius link should go out there, so that if you click on the Amazon link, it should take you to your local Amazon shop, right? Depending on where you are in your countries. And I tried aggregating the different ebook links, but I couldn't get them to talk to each other. So there's 2 different, ebook links, because they go to different distributors. Anyway, there's the ebook is out, but you can also buy the hardcover now. And VA saying holding the physical copy, even the proof, is a different experience than just having the digital manuscript. Yes, the work becomes real in a fuller way. I mean, right? We had the digital proof, as it were, of the book back in October, but having a physical copy is totally different.
Yeah.
So who wants to hear some story, right? So I realize. So I've got some pictures to go with it, but this picture is showing our two of our main characters. And for those of you new to the journey, I figured maybe we should talk a little bit about the setup, since we're about to talk about volume 2. But what's going on in volume? What's going on in this story anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on in this story anyway? What's our elevator pitch for this? We got to mark it. Come on, let's mark it.
Oh, gosh, I'm not good at this. The elevator pitch for this.
The log line, it's like I've had to write it down because I keep forgetting what our log line is. This is also, don't be your own marketer because you're terrible at it.
Yeah. No,
seriously, it's like it's a peculiar kind of torture making academics write our own blurbs, right? This is even worse because you are trying to describe to an audience who isn't in your own head what it is that you're doing, in a way that it makes it something that they want to participate in and share in. And most of the people that start with this kind of, we need to warm up for the Legend Haven discussion, right?
I know.
If you're a writer, what you want, okay, so here's the problem, all right? If you're a writer,
in my head.
You want everybody to be as excited about all the detailed work that you put into it as you are. How likely do you think this is?
Not likely at all. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can give a short synopsis of the book, but how do I make it exciting? It's exciting in my head. It was mysterious when we wrote it. I love the mystery of it.
Yeah, okay, so Kedra and VA Boston are in there. They know, they both, well, one, they both got the first volume, so they know. Okay, so here, Kedra is suggesting Jesus Christ Superstar in the City. We're gonna hire you to for marketing. Jesus Christ Superstar. Jesus Christ Superstar in the City. Yeah. So that gets at a,
not exactly
right, exactly, and that's But the problem with the marketing is you can't get people interested in something they've never heard of. So it's like this is why Hollywood relies on previous properties. I mean, look, Hollywood has budgets of billions or maybe millions, and they can't do it. That's a kind of reassuring thought.
Hollywood won't do it because of the billions. They don't want to lose it. They don't want to lose it for their investors. So they want a sure thing. And this is the same thing that happened to Broadway in the 70s and 80s. That's why they started remaking everything.
Yeah, because the only thing you can market is stuff that people already know.
Right.
Oh.
Right. Especially when you're charging that much for tickets.
Well, but at all, right? There's been an ongoing discussion about how Amazon and whoever owns what now, I totally lost track of who, which production companies own who, but they're all going to ruin the Lord of the Rings.
And not to mention Harry Potter. Oh gosh. Anyway.
Right, but so it's this, how can they do nothing but make sequels and repeats and retellings of the story, and of course, they're
money.
You're missing my point.
Oh, money.
Well, yes, they want money, but how'd they get money if they're retelling a story that everybody's heard already?
It's a sure thing. People love this story. We're just going to retell it slightly differently.
Okay, don't people want new stories?
No.
Nobody wants new stories.
They do and they don't.
Okay.
Right? They want a new story, but they want it to have familiar themes. Right?
Yes.
So our story has familiar themes of a dragon and a maiden who's not quite virtuous, and she's forgotten who she is, and her husband's come to get her. Right?
That's a really good description. Everybody be
Thank you.
taking notes so we can use this.
He has to do it in such a way as to not scare her off, though, because remember, she does not remember who she is.
You're really good at this. Keep going.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
So VA saying marketing.
So that's Act One.
Marketing is a real. No, that's actually the point of the whole story you just described for them. Remember what you just said. I'm going to make you repeat it. Okay, marketing is a real skill. It's a form of negotiations, but you only have seconds to secure the treaty. That's very true,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
and can you get, like, I have this thing that I want you to be interested in, but I have to start with the thing that you already know, and solve a problem. I mean, the sort of joke marketing is you're creating a problem for everybody and then giving them the solution. And if you guys think that this is an invention of the last 3 years or 10 years, you're wrong. It's the definition of marketing. And Dorothy Sayers in Murder Must Advertise already has a meditation that her copywriters are all talking about how, if the man in the street knew that we existed, they'd like murder us, because we're spending all our time asking like these most intimate questions. Do you have body odor? Right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I never thought even to worry about that. Well, now that you're worried about it, we have the solution. Except for Facebook gives me nothing but dog medicine ads now, because they clearly know that I have this dog that
exploding dog syndrome.
Exploding dog syndrome. Don't go there. That you're trying to start with this problem that you have, and it's like, what is it that and so some things are easier to sell. Like, do you want beautiful clothes? Okay. Women in dresses, here we are, we want beautiful dresses. We have beautiful dresses for you, right? Like the story problem. Do people want new stories? And your answer was right, they don't. We really don't. Nobody wants a new story, ironically.
They want an old story told in a new way, because otherwise they'll be bored.
Yes.
This is why all of the gender swapping and race swapping remakes all fail. Everybody hates them because they're served the same thing. They're served leftovers, like only slightly warmed up. They don't like that. They want a new meal with ingredients they're familiar with.
Familiar ingredients, but a new flavor to it.
Yes.
But the thing is, actually, some people just want the same story over and over again. I mean, one, you might actually literally just reread your favorite book.
Right, you might reread your favorite book and you'll rewatch your favorite movie, but you're not going to shell out a lot of money to go watch something that was just released in the theater, or go buy something that was just put on the bookshelf at Barnes and Noble. If it's the exact same thing you already have at home,
except for people,
has to be different.
But that's what genres are.
That's a genre, but I'm talking about a story. If the story is identical, right? The genre is the familiar part. So yeah, people want the same genre. They want the same type of story, but they don't want the exact same story.
So here's the sort of the indie pub question of how we can break into the storytelling, selling the stories problem. How far off the story you already know are you allowed to be?
Ooh, that's a good question. Depends on how well you do it, right? If you do something new that is surprising and it's received well, you've taken a risk as a writer. You've taken a risk as a movie producer. It doesn't always work, but when it does work, it's amazing, right? People had written stories about witches before, even children's stories, and until J.K. Rowling came along and said, well, I think I'm going to make something very uniquely British, and it's going to be a boarding school, and it had never been done like that before. So it was a familiar story, but it was, completely presented in a completely new way.
Yeah, but it's actually just a boarding school story.
That's what you think, but it's a witch's story too, right? And it's also a Messiah story, isn't it? It's got some familiar elements in it, but it's presented in a completely new way. So these are the same ingredients that but they're put together in a different way.
But so then this is if you say it's Messiah story, then there's Okay, so this is where literary criticism, it starts having fun, right? And saying comedy, tragedy. um, how many different kinds of like story arcs there actually are, and happy ending, sad ending. What is it that make the I don't think, I mean, I think most of the time we're telling the same stories over and over and over again, and we are a good deal of the pleasure in them is recognizing them in their familiarity.
Yeah, I just thought of Star Wars popped into my head. When it first came out, they were calling it was like an Old West shootout in space.
Right.
That's how they were describing it. So it's a very familiar story, which it was. If you just take out the space elements of it, and they're in a saloon. There's a shootout. One of them's a criminal. They make a quick getaway. It's a Western or it's a 1930s mob movie. It could be a bunch of different things, but it was familiar to people, but it was put in a new background. So it was put in space instead of in the Old West or instead of in 1920s Chicago.
And yet it is actually what you just said. It's a
shootout in space.
A shootout in space.
Yeah, but specifically they said Western, but and that was the right take, especially the opening scene in the bar.
Right. But in fact, as we know, it's actually the Fairy Queen, which would not have sold any seats at all. Look, there's a dragon. He fights a dragon, and she's got a dwarf, and the way in which the knight comes to rescue her and stuff. It's straight out of Spenser. Don't you want to see that?
Yeah, but when Spenser was writing it, even the people he was writing for thought it was really tedious because it was going on and on.
Right, but
he never finished it.
He never finished it, and the funny thing is, of course, he's rewriting the stories too. So I would say, so everybody who's sad that Hollywood keeps reusing the same characters over and over and over again. May I introduce you to the phenomenon of the Arthurian romance? There are so many of them that nobody reads. I haven't, even read. It's like you read Geoffrey of Monmouth, who allegedly is retelling these stories and kind of invents Arthur, but we're not really sure. Makes it a bit, makes it a sensation so much so that, the monks at Glastonbury find the tomb. It's like, he's totally made up.
They didn't see her long golden hair in a braid.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Aww. I'm destroyed.
Well, you should be, right? And the thing is, then Chrétien de Troyes by the end of the 12th century starts to, using that universe, right? So we're going to, in the Arthurian universe, tell stories of, Eric and Anita and Sir Lancelot and the Knight of the Cart and Parzival and such like that. And then, Wolfram von Eschenbach comes along and tells Parzival, but in German, and adds to the story. And then we have, the Quest of the Holy Grail that takes some of those characters and puts them in this, slightly altered universe where they're looking for the Holy Grail. Oh, yes. And now we have an entire genre of new stories that include Quest for the Holy Grail. And those are just the ones in the first, 2 generations. So we have only made it to the early 13th century.
So the Hollywood remake was born in the Middle Ages.
Oh, it's born before then. Right. Okay, we don't even go back to Homer, right? And the fall of Troy, and so the Iliad's the fall of Troy, and then the Odyssey is the sequel, right? So Odysseus is trying to come home from the fall of Troy. And then what does Virgil do in the first century BC, early in the Augustan period? Virgil writes the Aeneid. Well, who's Aeneas?
Right. It's Odysseus.
No, Odysseus is a different character. Aeneas and Odysseus are 2 different characters. But Aeneas is a prince of Troy, who's
but it was widely regarded as a copy of the Odyssey, wasn't it?
It's a sequel. He
made the Aeneid. He said the Aeneid was a sequel
to the Iliad. Yeah,
I thought it was just a copy. I thought it was a Latinized copy.
No. Well, no. It's like telling. It's more like the Marvel universe of superheroes, right? So.
I'm laughing. This is so sad, but you're right. Now I just want to smack somebody in Hollywood. I don't know who. Just anyone will do. Really.
Well, no, just smack people who get too bent out of shape about highbrow versus lowbrow. Highbrow is just
Oh, I never do.
last culture's, popular literature. It,
Yeah.
Shakespeare was for the,
Right.
was lowbrow theater. Okay, yeah, so he got
Absolutely
to
it
perform.
was.
He got to perform for the
Yeah.
Queen and stuff like that. But it's not, it's like when you make it highbrow, make it all precious and everything. It's because it's the previous generation's art.
It became highbrow in the 19th century,
Right.
and then we discussed that on one of the arcs before too. When we were talking about riot season, one of the riots was over Shakespeare.
Yes,
In New
yes.
York.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Um, and I think it's just because of the archaic language. And I think the reason Shakespeare became highbrow in the 19th century was because it was difficult to read, and you really needed time and a little bit of money to put into books to read this. And I think the same thing about poetry today.
Hmm.
People have given up reading it because it's now considered highbrow.
Right.
And it's true that highly educated men, mostly, there were some women that did it in the 19th century, really popularized poetry. And maybe that's why it was seen as highbrow. But I mean, the topics they were writing about, weren't particularly highbrow, not all the time. They were just,
No.
yeah.
No, and the thing is, back in the, poetry, it was the popular medium at the time. So Lord Byron, things I still haven't read much of, right? Lord Byron's poems, when they were published, it was like Jane Austen's novels. It was, suddenly this the new popular literature. But going back to the Iliad and the Odyssey, right? So we're not sure whether there's a single author, Homer, that the scholarship goes back and forth on that. I don't know where it is right now, and saying whether it comes out of a tradition and it's compiled, and who it's exactly writing on it. Similar with the Odyssey, when the Romans need something to sort of anchor them in meaningfulness. Virgil writes the Aeneid to tie the Roman foundation story to Troy. So
yeah, that's what made me think, and it's been a very long time since I read those, but that's what made me think. I remember being told that basically they were copying Greek literature.
Yes,
and they did do it on purpose.
But it's not the same plot.
It's not. It's similar though, isn't it?
No,
I know. I read both of them.
Okay, no, we have to end up retelling the Iliad and the Odyssey. So the Iliad is about how Achilles is pissed off that Agamemnon has taken his slave girl, and he wants her back, and so he's pouting in his tent, and his best friend Patroclus says, "I'll go fight. Let me have your armor, and I'll pretend to be you on the battlefield." And Patroclus is killed by Hector, who's the Prince of Troy. And so Achilles is so mad, he goes and fights Hector and kills him, and then drags his body around the town.
As you do, yeah.
And then I don't remember. That's the bits I remember, right? It doesn't actually include the fall of Troy. The Iliad doesn't, because I think that comes in the Odyssey when they do the thing with the horse.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to reveal I haven't read it in a very long time, right? So the Odyssey is about Odysseus, who's been the trickster guy who does things like trick them into bringing the horse in. And so the city falls, they capture all the women and carry them off to be slaves. Menelaus gets Helen back, I guess. And so Odysseus goes home, and he's supposed to try to get home, but he gets waylaid for a while with Circe, who he lives with for a long time. And then he finally wakes up from that enchantment, and it's been a very long time. Meanwhile, in the other set of scenes, his wife, Penelope, is, virtuously waiting for him to come home, having to fend off all these suitors who want to marry her because they want the property in Ithaca. Telemachus, by this time, is grown up he's all grown up, and the resonant scenes that people remember are Odysseus' homecoming. They don't recognize him. They kill all the suitors, and Penelope is rewarded by Odysseus' back.
Right. Killed all the suitors and killed all of her maids too.
Okay. I didn't remember that bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not the story of the Aeneid. The story of the Aeneid is Aeneas is a prince of Troy who carries his father Anchises and their son. I think there's a 3-generation thing, and the gods of their house, their family, get carried off. Aeneas is beloved of Venus, I'm pretty sure. Now I've forgotten which goddess likes him. They end up getting blown to Carthage, and so while Aeneas is in Carthage, Dido, the queen of Carthage, falls in love with him, but he's like, no, 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 and they have sex, which is like,
Not no to everything, right?
big deal for her in a cave. It rains. They have sex in the cave, so she's now completely besotted with him, and he's like, no, I have a destiny, and leaves her, and
But that is very much like Odysseus, though.
Okay,
right?
so
Being captured by Circe.
Okay, so if it's similar to that, right? So love story part. But Dido then kills herself. Then you see her from and Aeneas's ships are leaving the coastline, and her pyre is rising on the horizon. This is from high school Latin class, so I hope I'm getting this right.
Oh, she's gonna brag. I read it in Latin. No, I read it in English.
We did. If I have any ability to talk technically about poetry, it's thanks to Mr. Mitch, our Latin teacher, because we read it. Yeah. We read the Aeneid in like excruciating detail of where is this, chiasmus. I remember that as a feature. It's ABBA in terms of like you might have a noun, adjective, noun, or something like that. Chiasmus is the enclosing technical thing of the poetry thing, and ABAB. These are not rhymes. These are like syntactical all of it, right? We did all of that. So Dido kills herself. Then Aeneas goes to Rome. It's not Rome yet. He's going to found Rome, basically, and more like going to the underworld and battles and killing Turnus and stuff like that. I forget. I don't think we read through book 6 or so, and we didn't read through the rest of it.
So there's a lot of parallels. It's not a copy. There's a lot of parallels. It sounds like to me.
Right. Well, they wanted it to be in that, it's like you tie it to Troy, and that makes your story. It's like, so it's like with the Star Wars series, right? It's like you have Star Wars work the first time, and then you have sequel, and then you have another sequel, and then you have a backstory, and then you have another one, and it's all in that universe, but it counts as Star Wars stories because it's associated with those original characters somehow. Mm-hmm. Right. Now we've just described all of medieval literature other than
I mean, everybody works off everybody else's work.
They all make it about Troy.
Yeah.
So so Geoffrey Monmouth, who invents the Arthurian stories, invents the fact that Britain is. So they know Virgil. They've all been reading Virgil and the Aeneid because they were reading in Latin, right? And they need they need a Troy story too. So Geoffrey Monmouth, writing in the 12th century about the history of the kings of Britain, has the first king of Britain, Brutus, fleeing from Troy at the beginning of the story. So, and
that is shameless.
They're completely. So the Arthurian stories are part of this Trojan lineage, right? And that
it's so shameless. Oh gosh.
So never in the world has there been a new story. Nobody will read your story and you'll see.
I'll do it.
It needs to be attached to. It needs to be attached to the story that people already know, and then they'll be interested.
Right. Well, that makes sense, because if you've written something completely detached from all human history, nobody would understand it. It would just look like gibberish. It would look like intellectual gibberish.
Clearly, the aliens are going to be very sad when they finally show up, and we don't care. Where are you from? If you're not from Troy, we're not interested. But
they said, well, as a matter of fact.
See, and this explains every Tartaria conspiracy theory out there. It's like you want it to be tied to the story you actually already know. That, curiously, is what gives you pure satisfaction in story worlds. That's literally why nobody can write anything that's not already tied to something else.
Right. Well, that's the very way human beings learn language, isn't it? You have words that build on other words. There's always an association. There's an association between mom and dad, and, food and water, and, cold and fire. There's always going to be an association. So you have to have a word for one thing that satisfies another. So the stories do the same thing that the language does.
So you have just articulated a robust theory of poetry in like 3 sentences. You're on fire
I did.
tonight. Yeah, I know. It's like, isn't it great?
I'm not smart enough to
This is what, being my student is like. What did I just say? And I'm going, yeah, that's great. And my students are going, what?
What? Huh? What?
Think what you just said. It's great. So one, you gave a description of our story, which fits with what it's like. It's the I mean, literally, she's our had you said it better than I have, because I always want it to be like, well, it's about the the literary tradition of Trojan stories. The wife has
Well,
the wife has been
yeah.
lured away by a seducer, and her husband wants to bring her back, but he can't do it directly because she's under the spell of the seduction.
She and everyone around her.
Mhm.
So this fits in well with Odysseus's homecoming, right? So everyone around Penelope has been screwing around and destroying his kingdom, or using it, or trying to move in and being disloyal, basically, to him.
But she's not. She's
Wow.
completely loyal.
No, she's completely loyal. So that's the
Yeah.
difference in our story.
Yeah.
Eliza is not loyal. Eliza doesn't even remember who she is. She has flashes sometimes of maybe kind of remembering the past, but they're not all pleasant. They're not all
Right.
pleasant memories for her. And so she quickly gets rid of them, pushes them right out of her mind.
Mm-hmm.
But Damien is steadfast. He's Lancelot or Galahad. He's very steadfast. He will not leave her, and he will not give up.
Lancelot's not a good choice there, because he's of course cheating
Well, because
cheating with Guinevere on Arthur.
But he's passionate about her, right? He's passionate to his own destruction, right? Galahad was the pure one, but he would never have a relationship with any woman. But Lancelot was very passionate, so but Damien was never gonna leave her. He's not gonna give up.
See, this makes our husband character somewhat different from the other characters.
Yes.
It's not Lancelot or Galahad. He's passionately in love with his wife, who has forgotten him.
Yes, and an obsessive drive to reach his goal, which is to get her back, and that would be Galahad, right? And without himself being corrupted, which is also Galahad.
Right, and so that's our hero's challenge, ironically, and that this has created some difficulties in trying to write the thing. How do you write a hero that enters into this sordid situation? His wife's, cheating on him with a seducer. Enters into this sordid situation and does not fall into the corruption that is all around him.
Right.
And make him interesting. And also make him interesting.
Make him very interesting. Well, it's because he's very mysterious. He appears mysteriously. He talks in riddles almost. And if you're at all trying to have a conversation with him, which Eliza immediately does, she's immediately attracted to him.
Mm-hmm.
She runs right to him. She doesn't know why. She thinks she's just going to be his arm charm for the evening in the casino in Act 1.
Right.
And he just lets her think that, and just follows along with her wherever she's going, because he needs to convince her to come back. He needs to help her remember who she is.
I wonder if we've intrigued them yet. Well, we have tried writing log lines, and I think we're doing better now than we have previously. So the subtitle of the work is, of course, A Philosophical Allegory of the Love of God for His Creation. So if you're trying to, we're trying to write mythology for the modern world, and in my Tolkienian inspiration, what that actually means is, it's funny for me why it's so difficult. If we say the log line out loud, then does it give it away? See, and this is also, I think, the pleasure in a story of finding out like who the characters actually are, which we know, and we need you to gradually realize, and your realization as a reader is one of the things that we want to, give you pleasure in. But on the other hand, how do we tell you why you should be interested in the story if we don't tell you who the characters actually are? We've actually, as a team, struggled with this a lot, right? Because as we're writing the story, how do we show, be consistent with who they are, but not be the allegory part override the reality of the characters in the situation that we're trying to show them in, which is actually kind of
I
mythological.
think,
But
I think we're being mysterious now.
what?
That's it. You don't want to. We're being mysterious now, and that's okay. We want the reader to actually enjoy figuring it out. Eliza's trying to remember who she is, or she's not trying, but Damien wants to try to help her remember who she is. So as you read Acts 1, 2, 3, going through 4, we're now writing 5.
Right.
More and more, these people are revealing themselves more and more, and the reader kind of discovers these things about them at the same time they're revealing themselves. So it's I don't want to say slow. It's not slow. It actually goes really fast, but it's very precise, the order that they do it in.
Well, that's what we're trying to show, and hopefully that's a good storytelling technique, that you're learning more and more about the characters as you go along, and they are revealing. It's like they're being transformed by the situations that they're in, which is just ordinary storytelling, right? But okay, they're being transformed by the situations that they're in, and becoming more themselves the more they interact.
Yes.
But
right.
They're becoming more themselves the more they interact. Shows something at what I hope we're achieving is this kind of going back through history into myth that Tolkien wanted his stories to do. That you end up back in a reality in which the ancient gods are actually present and expressing themselves as they would, but that they start from, it's like reverse humorism, that they start from these very ordinary characters in our real world, in our regular world, which was in the casino.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're ordinary in the way every one of us is ordinary, and yet every one of us is unique. Kind of like the way we were talking about wanting the same story, but presented in a unique way. Well, that's every human being, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Going to lose my train of thought here. So.
Well, no. So that this is a story, and it should be very familiar, as all good fairy stories are. But it is
the people should be familiar too.
Right. That there was something you just said about, what were you just saying?
Oh, darn it! Now I have to recall.
Now I don't remember either.
I don't prepare for these. I don't prepare for these at all. I said that the people are very unique. Just the characters are very unique. Like every person is unique.
Oh, and what I was thinking about that is saying, so these start off as historical beings, right? Present day historical persons who then reveal themselves in their mythological guise, which I think is and that with that meta desire that we have with the story to show you, reader, that you are living in this mythological level of reality all the time too.
Yes, and everybody always has been. We do a bit of time jumping, it looks like, right? But these are just artifacts. They're just artifacts of culture, because we haven't changed as a people from hundreds of years ago. I mean, our laws have changed. Sometimes our understandings has changed, but fundamentally, human desire hasn't changed.
Right.
And what people want, what people think they want, hasn't changed at all. How they relate to each other hasn't really changed at all.
The time travel part of the story is also about the way in which our understanding reveals itself variously in terms of which historical periods culturally we're focusing on. So we start with the modern day in the casino, which is in Act 1, and then Act 2 we're going to show you in a second. goes back in time, but it's two different time periods have different resonance for our immediate present, right? And the Act 2 goes back to the 16th century, the Elizabethan period. Then Act 3 comes forward in time, and Act 4 goes backward in time again. And I think it's also that Where are we actually looking to say, aha, it all went bad then. It all went, the sort of difficulties
Yeah.
that we're wrestling with come from this period. No, that comes from this period. No, it comes from this period. And my sense of people's understanding of history is that it's not chronological. You don't start at the beginning and go through to the end and then stop. White rabbit wise, right? As Alice in Wonderland
Right.
would put it, is that we sort of, in our own understanding and insight, hop around in time too. Oh, this is something that's been going on since World War II. No, it's something that started back in 1688. No, it's something that started in 1200, right? No, it's also the time travel part is the path of our own revelation as it's showing itself, but it's the path of our own discovery of the layers of the story that we're caught in. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know which author did this. I don't know if it was Michener or Faulkner. Somebody mentioned it to me once, and it was his story, and it was about Israel, I think. I heard the secondhand. I didn't read the book. It's been an archaeologist digging up an artifact, right? And the artifact tells a story, and then he goes down one more layer, and it shows for that artifact, and he just keeps going down, and the story just keeps getting deeper and more complex. That was leading up to the one that was on the top of the heap, the highest level underneath the dirt, just under the dirt where you were walking, right? And then you become part of that story, or whatever you drop on the ground would.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
It was a nice.
Like that. Okay, so we have this story that we're trying to accomplish all of this. Oh my gosh, modest tales.
Yeah, piece of cake.
Piece of cake. And we you should know by now that Eliza, our main character, is the bride that we're trying to understand, and she has been, as we see in the concluding image of Act 1, tempted into the dragon's lure. The dragon is this is kind of how the clearest image you have of him so far, but he's sung to her, as it were, and this was at the end of Act 1, right? With planets in his eyes, he turned his head and sang to her of empires filled with joy and dread. Come near, my dove, and taste the hidden love. Into a dream I'll ease you, ne'er to wake. One tear to taste, like star milk from above, shows lights unseen unless you dare partake. Sharp on your tongue, a pyramid of snakes uncloaks a dark star burning in my breast. You'll see the world as clearly as the drakes, and capture seas from east to furthest west. For dragon sight, I'll trade the crystal in your chest. That actually does project pretty much everything that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
there's the original spell.
Right, the original spell that she is now that she is now under. So this is kind of at the moment now. If you don't have Act 1 right now, you might not want to carry on with us right now, because in order to explain to you what's happening in Act 2, we have to tell you what happened at the end of Act 1, and the main cast of characters that we have in the full story. So it's not just our hero Damien, but and his love Eliza, but also this whole ensemble of other characters who've been recruited by the magician in the magic show to a competition of. He's a bit vague about what the competition is.
Yeah, just come. It's basically a giant roulette wheel. Come try your luck.
Come try your luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to be part of the? How did we have him say that? It's a game, right? And
yeah, it's like a game show. Who wants to be on the stage?
Oh, what he says is, who wants to try his hand at beating fate? Yes. The fortune's to be won by 1 or 8. I have the tickets here to validate a company of 7 for the quest. Hands up, be quick. You don't want to be late. Hands up, be quick. You don't want to be late. Wonders demand that time itself is pressed. Who wants to fly without the beating in their chest? So he's promising to a certain extent rapture out of time and mortality.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we have our main cast of characters who it's sort of funny. We're being coy about it. But we're actually showing you a lot in the pictures about who they actually are, both in, as it were, not so much real life, because although they may look like characters you recognize, that's not their name in our story. But they're also in this last image from Act 1, identified with certain astronomical identities. I'm repeating myself. Personages, right? Are they historical characters, or are they
ruled by their planets?
Astrological, ruled by their planets. Yes. And these 7 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right, at the end of Act 1, go through the wheel, right, which basically transports them and projects them up on screens, so that it's like, where are they? They've gone through some kind of portal, and obviously to do our time travel, the portals change at the end of different acts, right? So what kind of transformations they're going through in each instance. And at the end of this portal, you go through and they're zapped out into where? Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
A dark and beautiful place.
Well, so this is the opening of Act 2. This is where they end up. And we've totally unrehearsed this, right? Because this is the way you feel like when you're reading it. Here they have suddenly come into what?
I'm trying to do this. It's a garden.
Welcome to paradise, a man's voice said. You'll find accommodations to the right. The queen invites you to her board and bed and hopes you will amuse her with delight. The mages of the queen will test your sight. The servants here will see to your requests. The ladies of the court will cheer their knight. A gesture smooth, the courtier, well-dressed, held out a gloved hand with which to guide the guests. You want to read the next one?
Sure. The men and women wondered at the sight. Around them rose great oaks of towering size, while underfoot their path was set alight by iridescent roses and fireflies. Where are the men? Miss Rhine, quite breathless, sighed. Tall Stern behind her scowled. This isn't real. DeMauro used his hat to shade his eyes. The trees remind me of my family shield. I bore it when I rode my horse across the field.
I've got a golden shield at my hotel. This place looks mint, puffed Dominic with pride. This garden seems to me a passing spell, said Helen as she glanced from side to side and watched their faces coyly, Argus-eyed. That mage had better give me back my clock, stormed Stern. I've worn it since my father died. He paced across the lawn while Kemet rocked. I've slept until the wake of this enchanted walk.
The path lies straight. I've seen it in my dreams. Who said that? Stern, in agitation, croaked. Your path lies this way, past the winding stream. The courtier's voice was smooth and rich with smoke. You don't fool me, persisted Stern. I'm woke to your deceits and soporific lies. That mage's show has nothing but a joke. I've seen through you. Now let me have my prize, he muttered. Only foolish men would think him wise.
The others followed where the guide was bidding, along a cobbled path of ancient stones. Their steps made music, and their feet were tripping to rhythms that they had heard long, long ago. These monoliths are wild, they shine like bones. Kemet was first to breathe their wonderment. It's like a zoo, he rapped, but made of stones, a jungle of great beasts and monument. His songs recalled the way into the Orient.
These beasts are tacky shows of avarice. That lion's jaws yawn open like my own. Stern huffed his way along the path in haste, no music in his heart to bring him home. I see Tyrannosaurus Rex o'erthrown, tomorrow rested on the Titan's foot. It's quite a thing to kill and fill his throne. That tree is filled with pigeons of repute, the rapper came at rapt melodious tribute.
Is that a lion or a bird in flight? A cloud passed over Mistress Cole's visage. It flickers back and forth in this dim light. Dom grinned. I'd sell my skin for that presage. It's solid gold. I wonder who got fleeced. I wish a knight would come and rescue me, sighed Lorelei at thoughts of flying beasts. Each wondered at the monsters of their wheel and contemplated fortunes slightly, Each wondered at the monsters of their wheel and contemplated fortune's swiftly turning wheel.
I know this one, Stone murmured, standing still. His scales are brazen, and his breath is fire. His blood turned cold with an electric thrill. His lineage is ancient like his sire. Stone stood on guard, a barded destrier. You've got imagination, I'll say that. Stern slapped him on the back. Don't worry, squire. If that's a living monster, I'm a cat. Stone's measured gaze surveyed the lost aristocrat.
A thunderclap broke through the budding rout. Brada, brada, bradum, thurnucum, bradum. Its rumbling matched the rhythm of the bout. That statue moved. You're nuts. I heard it hum. Kemet drew breath and trilled his tongue to drum, and beat the bones, his sonic mind unbound. In burning skies the gods make men succumb. Doomed roll of monsters fill the air and ground. The earth is pressed by dragons' elephantine sound.
The shapes before them writhed, coils serpentine, embraced an elephant in battle dress. A castle turreted, adamantine, flashed rainbows of a dream time of largesse. The serpent's eyes were rubies, and its flesh was colder than the deserts of the kings, where elephants led armies to red death. A beast in crisis trumpeting, it sings, wrapped round by Draco Incrus elephantine rings.
It sings of power, Dominic intoned. It sings of love, gasped Lorelei, entranced. It sings of death, stern Churchill gravely groaned. It sings of glory, Demaro advanced. It sings of mysteries, coy Helen romanced. It sings of songs, sing Kemet exultant. It sings of sorrow, longing for the dance. Inside the cities where the ravens chant, they stared at Stone, enraptured by the elephant.
The queen is waiting, and the feast prepared. A chiming voice broke through the singing mist. The company wheeled round. Their thoughts were paired with fantasies of fortune and of bliss. The figure of a man shone in their midst, with golden wings that framed a double head. He stood beside a gate of polished schist. He held a mirror, bright and limned in red. With pangs, they felt their bodies hunger to be fed.
Who wrote this? Hey, I'm happy it scans, right?
Yeah, I know. I could tell you would check the scan. Yes, it's good.
It's like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So our characters who've gone through that Wheel of Fortune, and they're all named in Act 1. I realize that you know, they all have first and last names, and they are all named in Act 1. They found themselves now in this garden filled with statues of monsters, and this elephantine statue that they're looking at now is, of course, a clue to the layers of mysteries that they are going to be articulating themselves in the course of what happens in the garden. They've been invited, as I say, to the queen. You know, the queen is waiting and the feast prepared, and they're about to meet their hostess and find out what kinds of challenges she's going to give them. At this point in class, I'd say, class, any questions? But everyone's gone quiet in the chat. Felix Ruber was saying, familiar arcs and motifs are like musical notes or a color palette. It's all in the assembly. Yes. So,
Yeah.
I've been wondering, and I am saying when you're writing, you're always imagining the reader that your ideal reader is you.
That's true. Well, there is no more ideal reader than me.
Well, if I were reading the kind of thing that I enjoy reading and it had all of these layers of, reference and symbolism and such in them, and, people, my readers will be so delighted to find out that there's such this rich layering. And of course, I, having been humbled by, standing in front of classes and talking about literature that I find fascinating and many layered, and my poor students are going, we missed that bit.
Yeah.
I think it's like, and I think we've actually, we've been trying to do this, and we've been writing that the story has to make sense by itself without your necessarily knowing that this image, as we talked about with Aisha in the summer, is modeled on Bernini's elephant, right? We needed the visual reference, which should give you pleasure if you find out that, yes, you're in the Troy story. But on the other hand, hopefully you're intrigued enough by the elephant fighting the dragon in this statue that they're all entranced by, to consider what is it that this elephant is, and what power is that elephant going to have over them in the story. But some authors that take, even Tolkien had to wait a decade before people really started picking up on his stories. I'm not sure how long we're going to be patient while we're publishing it, because how long does it take for the reception to
Well, I mean, a clue in the scene we just read is why an elephant?
Mm-hmm.
And why are they all attracted to the elephant? Right? It's like it's a garden of monsters, right? Statues. But they're attracted to the elephant. That's a clue.
In particular. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, I mean, that there is the reason that it's the Bernini's elephant, but he's fighting a dragon. So this is, if you were reading, I don't know, Harry Potter, you'd be, all of these monsters are like, and if you were Hermione and had been to the library, you would know things like, in the bestiaries, the elephants fight the Draco. So here's this elephant fighting this dragon. I wonder what that's about, right? Could be a clue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm letting our audience sit and wonder.
Yes, as you take a sip.
As I get some more wine. Right. I'm curious now. It's been a long time since we wrote this part of the story. What do you hear in it now?
Oh, what do I hear in it? I hear the emergence of the individual characteristics and what people want. Right. So they've arrived in this garden while, being, volunteering and being selected for this game show where they think they're going to win wonderful things.
Right.
So what does each one of them consider to be a wonderful thing? So when they get into the garden, they're already expressing their desires through their description of what they see.
And what they can see, right? That they can't actually, they can only see through their desire. So
yes,
that you're getting, it's like Stern, he's Churchill Stern, and he's mad about his watch that the mage's pigeon took from him in the first act, and saying, I want that back. So he's still sort of, he's not even present where they are. He's still stuck in worrying about literally the lost time. That it's like, that mage had better give me back my clock. You just, went through a portal and ended up in this fabulous garden. You're worrying about your old life. So he's
very single-minded, and he's worried about he's concerned with his grandfather's life, because this is an artifact of his own family's history.
Right.
From Act 1.
Right.
Right. So he's so obsessed with what he's lost, as Damien looks at him and thinks he's the lost aristocrat.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is. His family's lost everything. So he's holding on to this one relic, and he's obsessed with it. He's obsessed with status.
Yes. And Miss Rhine?
She is obsessed with men. She's She's obsessed with love, and it's easy to laugh at that. But it's a real desire, and
Mm-hmm.
it probably goes deeper than what you're seeing on the surface.
Well, I always enjoy writing her because she's, I mean, we
And
have to,
reading her, I can tell.
well, but also, I mean, she's always well, one, she's obviously modeled on Marilyn Monroe, and
Yes.
that her voice is always, sort of breathy and excited, and it's like, oh, we're the men,
Yeah.
right? And it's, I mean, what's been challenging for us creating these characters is you don't want them just like, all nasty and horrible to start with. I mean, this is a kind of
No,
they're
no,
we
yeah.
like them. We like all of them.
We like them. And we actually think their desires are not bad desires.
Right. Yeah,
They're not.
their appropriate desires, and her wanting them in is fine, right? It's like that, she's totally there. She's like, she has nothing that she's left behind.
Right.
She's just like,
The point,
oh,
the point,
where are
yeah.
the men now, right?
Yeah, the point is they don't understand their desires any more than Eliza remembers who she is.
Right. Yes.
Right. So they've all kind of in one way or another forgotten who they are and why they want what they want.
Yes.
The dead air is killing me. Say something.
I will. I know. I've got you trained well. It's like don't let it sit there. Don't let it sit there. But one, I'm just being pleased with ourselves, right? That we're actually pulling.
You said with all humility. Yeah. No,
well, I mean, if you can't enjoy your own writing, you're going to have a small audience, right? It's got at some point please you.
I do reread things that I've written before, and so yeah, I get it.
Well, right Act 5, I was showing you an image from my first book, not my dissertation, but my first published book, and I'm reading it along going, one, I was like, okay, so this often, this happens when it's been a long time since you wrote the thing, and so you can maybe remember your intention in writing it, but you can't remember all the stuff that you discarded necessarily. It's like that was all of the stuff that didn't work, and so you put it away, and it's you have a memory of sifting through and sorting, like Michelangelo chipping away at the marble and letting the image reveal itself. So it's actually quite refreshing coming back, not immediately, right? Your immediate response to your own writing is it's terrible and you want to tear it up.
And I've done plenty of that in the past too. Literally tore it up.
Sister Maria Agreda Sor Maria there's a great passage where the devil comes to her and tells her, like, it's all her mystical city of God, right? Which is a spiritual, masterpiece. But the devil came to her when she finished the first version of it. Like, I don't know whether the original was as long as what the 4 volumes that it ended up being when she rewrote it, but he basically convinced her it was all, rubbish, and she burned it.
Oh. I understand the urge.
Right. There's a horrible sort of, valley of despair when you're looking at something that you've just finished, and all publishers know this, because when they send us back our copy edited proofs, they're like, do not start rewriting. Like, really, just don't. It's like you're not allowed to do anything but like fix, if there's like real like punctuation errors or spelling errors or something like that, do not rewrite it. And that they've had to make that warning constantly, because you'll see it and you've moved on, you've thought about new stuff, you reread this thing that you wrote some time ago, and you're like, well, I know new stuff, I don't want that. This for me as a teacher is a challenging exercise when I've had students writing their dissertations, right, which takes a long time, and so you write it and you're like that's great, do the next chapter, and then they come up and it's like a completely new thing, and I had students before where, like, they've written 3 dissertations when they should have written 1, and I'm like, will you just stop? Let it go. Put it in bind, put it in what are these called, covers, right? And move on, because the design, I mean, as we were reading, I was wait, that does that scan? That there's this terrible like it's never quite perfect. It's never absolutely perfect, but it is also better than you think.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that sense when we're reading it, I'm going, okay, so we do want to hear from you guys, our new readers, what strikes you. You have to love it, so just don't tell us about how you don't like it. Nothing. We don't want to hear anything criticism. Forget it. It's published. Okay, this is what it is. Act 2 is what it is. But as writers, you don't always know what your readers are going to notice that you didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, Kidra is saying this is your best work so far.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
I mean, this was, we've been writing together that by the time we wrote this act for already four projects, right? Centrism Games, Aurora Borealis
Yep.
Act 1, now in the Act 2.
Mm-hmm.
And you understand why Spencer kept polishing and revising. Although we read a stanza of Spencer every day when we're warming up, and some of his were like, "Are you sure this scans? We see what you did there. That was a bit of a cheat. I'm not sure even in Elizabethan English that worked."
Absolutely tortured syntax. And then sometimes I think you told us he occasionally let others of his colleagues write some of the stanzas,
Mm-hmm.
and it really shows because some of them are just better. So,
well, you don't know which ones are being written by who at that point.
well,
Yeah.
If Spencer wrote most of them, I'd say the better ones were written by his colleagues. There's not that many of them,
right?
But you can tell because they stick out like a sore thumb.
Poor Spencer. He was so wanted to pull this off. Right. We are going to finish. Okay, so now the story, we realized we originally projected that it was going to be finished in 5 acts because we thought we were going to write a Shakespearean play. It's not. It's 7, and when we say we're writing 5 now, 6 and 7 are still to come. And now it actually fit. The 7 is actually symbolically better for us because you realize we have these 7 characters who are the contestants that the mage entices through the wheel. And they are being revealed in the story as in their fullness.
It's not plot creep. It's necessary. You could see that as we were writing for. It's like, this is. And you first suggested it. I'm like, really? But I didn't really question it because I'm like, that kind of makes sense. This is no way we're going to get to the point we wanted to get to towards the end.
Right.
The next act, that's not going to happen. So it needed to be expanded. But it's because we had the end in mind already.
Right. We had the end in mind, and then pacing. This, of course, I found all my books end up longer than I meant them to be because you set this thing up that you think is going to take a certain amount of time to resolve, and then you realize, nope, overshot. But there is a real feeling of the arc of now that we've set things up through it's a rising to the 4th act and then the fall. It's like anyway, it feels right now. We know it's going to be 7, and it's all of the pieces are coming into play. But in Act 2, what's going to happen is you're basically going to meet the full cast. In Act 1, you've met Damien and Eliza provisionally. You don't really meet Damien properly until Act 3. Sorry. But that in Act 1, it's just the choice of the ensemble, and now in Act 2, they need to give their backstories. So it's kind of a setup for them. But first, they have to see who their hostess is. So here she is. Recognize her. I'll start at 16. Or at the end of 15. They walked through. So a table met their gaze, filled to the brim with every merchant's spice sought from outside, and at its head a queen, demure and prim, her eyes as green as peacocks' tails, blind seraphim. That's a pretty cool image, if I do say so myself. Okay. Because peacock's eyes, right? They're blind angels. Ha ha ha. Okay. Like, doing commentary on your work is deadly. Okay. We're looking at the queen. A halo of stiff lace enshrined her face, while firelight flickered in her golden locks. A rainbow scepter marked with symbols traced and set with star atop its polished rocks unlocked the fairy realm of paradox with synesthetic dreams of sugar plums. A dragon coiled upon her sleeve sent shocks of seismic memories beat on tribal drums. Her lips were red with secrets of celestial tongues.
Who comes to tell me stories by the fire? You'll find my court not easy to impress. We've heard the stories of the rise of Tyre, when murex stained both king's and beggar's dress. Before I pour you tea, first acquiesce to story time with spice to set your course. We know the gemstones and the olive press. We know the spice that turns your sinistrors. Come, prove your wit with tales, and I will proffer scores.
The double-headed herald drew a chair and gestured for the ladies to sit down. Blonde Lorelei dreamed castles in the air, while Helen gave the feast a cautious frown. This must have cost enough to buy your crown, grinned Dominic, and throned himself to eat. Tomorrow argued precedent with Stern, as Kemet waltzed from seat to empty seat. The last to sit, Stone said, let's taste, my tooth is sweet.
Each place was set to feast like royalty, with napkins of Egyptian cotton fine, and china cups and silver cutlery. The centerpiece, a peacock stuffed with thyme, around the edges of the plates ran wine poured out by mermaids holding ships of salt. A loop of 8 flowed with the scent of thyme, old blood from merchants filling up their vaults. My table's humble, like my galleon dreadnought.
A man in black stood by the queen's right hand, with globe of crystal wrapped in purple silk. She glanced at him and gestured to a stand prepared with sigils scripted with star milk to fascinate the diners and their ilk. A sudden sound, a bark, below the teak-legged table called the hostess on her bilk. Who brought that mutt with him? The queen was piqued. You know he's mine, my lady. He's been here all week.
She blinked, then forced a smile. She blinked, then forced her mouth into a smile. This crystal globe shows mysteries near and far, and distant times, if you but watch a while. A pirate stole it from a Turk's bazaar, an astrolabe by which to sight a star. Foresight is granted solely to the wise who risk the telling of their life's memoir. Let us distill your truths from cosmic lies. Locked in this orb, the key to seas and oceans lies.
It will be yours, if you can learn to scan and chart the course the pirates sailed for spice. My mage is here to serve as dragoman. Now prove your worth, with tales aromatized. The mage drew forth a conch of paradise. A single pearl was nestled in its lobes. He took a leaf and made to sacrifice its incense to the gods of mystic globes. He hummed a chant while soaking smoke into his robes.
I know that leaf, cried Dominic, amazed. My ancestors were traders for the crown. Give him the conch, Eliza told the mage. She turned to Dom. Tell us of your renown, of sailing ships and buildings in new towns. Her mage bowed low and held the smoking shell for Dominic to drink the vapors down. My family's brand, Tobago grown, bespelled. We carried it in ships to Amsterdam's Bethel.
He drank the smoke and sang. I feel that drum. I heard it first at dawning of the earth. I heard the beating rocks, in time they rung. The elements cried out in savage mirth, and I was picked to mine the rocks for worth. He took another breath of smoking leaf. In those days there were giants in the Firth, who smelted rocks of bronze from Cornish peak to furnish weapons fashioned by an ancient Greek.
He roared. We conquered lands with swords of steel, our helms and breastplates forged from Starfall's mud. The hammers of the gods beat out our zeal. We marched to war with iron in our blood. He beat the table with a rousing thud. We hammered out our race from iron white and bent what could not drown an ocean's flood. We hammered out our hearts in aura light and forged our wills in rocks with every hammer's strike.
The other designers laughed with cosmic cries. Encouraged, Dom rapped out his master plan. I see a tower faced in glass, mile high, and engines pulling cargo across the land. Now all we need is gold, and we're on brand. I see a ship pulled by an iron horse to cut a course right through the desert sands. I know someone who'll cut a deal, of course. A foundry with the goods indebted to the bourse.
Here's what we'll do, boys. Mark my words in ink. We'll give the foundry just enough to float, then wait until their business starts to sink. They're in Jamaica land. We've got the boats. Since there's no union, there will be no votes. We'll buy them out and move the ore up north. The Scots are frugal with their British notes. We'll use the industry to bridge the Forth and export progress to all corners of the earth.
Cigar in hand, he blew smoke rings and puffed. We'll build a palace out of glass and steel and set it in our city on the rough. The world will come to see our merchants' zeal and ride upon our giant Ferris wheel. A playground for the country's working men. No hunger, poverty, or lack of weal. We'll make it trump our greatest tie, and then we'll make it greater still, a monumental win. Oh, well, okay, that's brilliant. Who wrote that? I mean, see, yes, you see why we keep saying we feel so topical. And you know, and as oh look, we've got some comments now. All right. Yeah, so I love the line about music providing an anchor insight and the contrast between the two characters around it. The characters are getting more fleshed out. They each have a different reaction that is helping to give them more dimension. And
Yes.
and Kedra says motto drop. Where's the which motto drop? Wait, where did we get? Yes. So the okay, the queen is Eliza, who is hopefully now more clearly Elizabeth. As in the Elizabethan queen, Elizabeth. And she's invited them all to tell stories.
First.
Elizabeth first. She's invited them all to tell stories about who they are. And what we've tried to do in these stories is for each of the characters who are now in Aisha's magnificent designs, which we gave her the costumes. Like we studied Elizabethan costumes really.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Dressing our character. We want to be costume designers, right? Dressing our characters for this act was great. And that they're dressed as in the actual like historically accurate clothes for the characters that they are, and but their stories should feel kind of more mythological as well. But the mythology is
Right.
is at the level of who they are both as like historical persons and their cosmic referent. So do you know who
Yeah,
he
and
is? Has anybody figured out who Dom is?
Yeah, Dominic has quite the mythological view of his family's history too.
Oh, so Kedra's saying, learn to scan. Yes. We
Yeah.
our motto is our own self-reference is but buried in there. Yeah. Anyway, well, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, it's nice. It's fun to read it again.
And I mean, yeah, so this is we're now at the point, so we've put it out there and we're looking forward to your responses and questions, and we should come back and have a reading with, once people have gotten their books, and
Yeah.
see, people can give like guesses at what the mystery is. Maybe it's really obvious now. It feels mysterious as we're writing it, and what we were talking about in terms of this is really our new story, right? I have no idea that anybody has ever written exactly the adventure that we're having our characters go on.
Well, they haven't because we just wrote it.
Well, no, so it's not. To be fair to us, right? For example, Malcolm Guite, one of our poet models who he looks like he's got the white hair and he reads poetry on his YouTube, and he wrote magnificent sonnets that we read. You remember he's English, right? He's the Anglican poet who's
Oh,
right. Who we watched him give a lecture at Wheaton on the live stream once. Does that you
okay.
remember who he is now?
I think that was that Kilts with you?
No,
Or might
you
have
were all
Kilts.
everybody was there watching it. You watched it.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, Malcolm Guite he's just published, and I don't have it yet because he just released it, and I did put my order in, a retelling of one of the Arthurian stories in verse.
Nice.
So, and that I've been sort of mulling over. What do we do after we finish this in 3 years? Well, while we're waiting for the rest of the picture, we actually have realized what we probably want to do is do a text only publication of it too once we finish the story, and then you guys get the movie illustrated version
Yeah.
in serial. But
Yeah.
because we're going to write, and it's going to still take a long time to get all the
Right,
illustrations out.
because the illustrations are it's totally worth it for the illustrations to go along with it, because they're beautiful, fantastic. But I wouldn't want to wait 5 years to get to the end of the story either. So yeah, I think it's much better to do the word only version when we've completed all 7. That's good.
Hopefully.
Can I, because I want to put the book down, can I say this really quickly? When you asked just a little bit earlier, does anybody know who he is? Right. So I want to point out stanza 26. I see a tower faced in glass mile high. What was in the news this week or last week?
Are you asking me or them?
Yeah, anybody. Somebody's building something in Miami.
Oh, right. Yeah. That one. No, what's funny is, of course, Dubai Dubai actually has the mile high tower, right? And that one's been in the news.
It's not literally a mile high, is it?
It's the reference from the Bacon New Atlantis, where they're projecting what's going to happen in the future. And is it mile high or half a mile high? It's in fact as high as the Dubai tower is in fact as high as the one that Bacon mentions in New Atlantis, which is pretty scary.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody was reading it when they came up with the design idea, huh?
I don't know. Burj Khalifa is as tall as this tower that Bacon imagined in his New Atlantis, which I find pretty spooky.
That is spooky.
Oh, Keedra's saying this is glorious. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and then chat at Vox for the leather-bound version. Well, so I actually have this magnificent leather-bound Dante that somebody gifted me very kindly. Thank you. And it is actually really beautiful. So
it must be all 3, yeah.
It's the they did nice in papers, which is one of the drawings that I know of the Dante illustrations.
Yeah, very nice.
Famous 18th century.
Look at you. That's beautiful.
It's Longfellow's translation. It's got a lot of doths in it. So we have to finish writing it before we can make more physical copies of things. So we'll finish writing.
Yeah, we actually go ahead.
So VA Boston saying, no, I still need to order Act 2. Don't give me another book for my shelf by telling me what Guite is up to. Sorry. Well, anyway, I'll get he's released them, and I think they're going to start showing up in late April, which is now or soon. We're about half April right now. Anyway, I think I now don't remember which story he's retelling. He's retelling a story that in the future, I was looking at, we could do Merry Miracles. Wouldn't that be fun? Yes, we're going to do. I don't know. I mean, if we've taken, 7 years to write a poem, I'm not sure I'm going to feel like it's prudent to start on another 7-year project. We'll have
No.
Leia and then get Rachel. I don't know. It's like, but I don't think it is, right? I don't think it's practical. However, we'll find out, right? We'll find out what we're encouraged to do.
7 years sounds like a long time, but in fact, and you mentioned this earlier in tonight's stream, we really have to slow ourselves down sometimes, because when we say we committed to 1 hour, it's like we're not allowed to go over it. You're supposed to stop.
Right.
So we have occasionally written really, really fast, not on purpose. Sometimes it just comes to us, and then sometimes it would take 2 or 3 days to finish a stanza because we're quibbling over an idea,
right,
direction.
But that's usual. And I mean, so when people think that writing is about, always making a certain word count, the different parts of the argument take different amounts of time. And there's,
Yep.
I'm pretty practiced at feeling that. It's like I'm writing this long book review right now. It's like there's the opening paragraph, then there's the setup of the material paragraph, and then there's the blah blah. And people always think when they get to the end of something and they can write like 6 pages really quickly and like, oh great, now I've hit my stride, I'm going to do it again. And it's like, no, you can't, because the reason you were able to write all that quickly, like usually it's wild that because we've been writing these basically on a calendar year, so we'll be getting to December and suddenly it just whooshes out, right? In the last
it does.
The last 10,
a couple of times.
Right, but it's because we've got everything set up.
Yeah.
And we're resolving it, right? So it comes and comes and comes and comes, and then it resolves, and that very end part comes very quickly often. At Christmas, it's often, like I'm driving to my mom's and it all hits me in one go, and I'm like, guys, here it is, wham, right? But but then the first stanza of the next act is really slow again. It's the level of problem that you're solving in your own story structure that affects how much you can write as well. And again, people they get, and writers listening, you get sad about the thought, but how if I wrote 3,000 words in one go, when I was getting to the end, why am I like back at 10 words? Because you're figuring out new levels of what's going on. It's like each, so the pace is we know what the pace is on writing 4 acts so far, which is a year per act, so that's probably realistic.
Right. Some concepts are more difficult than others for
oh golly,
really
learning alchemy so we could write act 4, right?
Let's put alchemy in it.
There's a lot of real, detailed stuff in act 4 that's, at the level of 17th century science. So something to look forward to.
But we were right to do it because it worked, but dang, it was difficult.
Yeah. And what we're finding out in act 5 now is, the theology is starting to hit.
Yeah.
Oh and I think that's going to, but I was in a seminar today on the Gospel of John. Act 7 can be good.
I've got the ideas already.
Well, this has been what's fun about it. It's like each act has upped our game at a different level, right? That there's this new layer of problem that it's revealing itself. So this is also a good cautionary. It's like you get stronger, and so you're able to write more difficult stuff as you keep practicing, and it develops over the project.
Yes.
So that's actually good. Oh, Kedra's saying, I saw that behind you the other stream and was happy. Yes, thank you. And he's saying, I want the chance to make the team next time. Well, this is by then I'll be able to, show the cautionary tale. Well, this is what you're in for.
Yeah. If she says 2 years, don't believe her.
I don't know. So we wrote Aurora Borealis in about 8 months or so, but that was a kid's story. This stuff is way harder, and we got ambitious after writing the kid's story. So everybody remember Aurora Borealis. You can buy now that you know how good we are. right?
It's a lovely book.
Here's the introductory version of the kids story.
Yeah, it's a really fun, lovely story.
We only tell one story. There's actually only one story that I ever care to talk about. It's just how many different ways can you tell, the great story, the good story.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so we hope we've intrigued. We hope we've suggested to you that we are actually trying to tell a story that's in conversation with the stories you already know. The premise of the story is actually quite simple. He wants her back.
And we'll stop at nothing.
Yes, and we'll stop at
To have
nothing to
her
rescue
to have
her,
him. Yeah,
which
right.
is challenging when you are up against the world's desires. And the thing is, he wants to win her back, but he wants to, in the process, he's going to save the world. So there you go.
Right.
Simple story. I'm sure you recognize.
He doesn't see the people around her as obstacles. He sees them, the people around her, as people who also need rescuing.
Right. And this is the sort of superhero story problem has been a really interesting challenge, because there's how much power can you exert and still work within the bounds of your own covenant, or your own, not covenant, your own creation, without breaking it. Okay, so Kedra says challenge accepted. Well, we'll be here for some time, right? That there's stories to be told and mysteries to be unlocked, and how can you ever tire of the greatest one? Yeah. Okay. So everybody, you can still buy Act. So Amazon is playing silly buggers with our profits, but you can buy Act 1 now for a discount because of the way Amazon is pricing it. Nothing we can do to control it. You guys know what the dragon, the Amazon dragon is like. It sells stuff for what it
Insatiable.
likes. Yeah, it's insatiable. Whereas the Act 2 is out in both hardcover and ebook, and you can get it on Amazon, hopefully around the world, and you can get it on ebook around the world. And we hope you'll get your copy soon, so that we can share more of our story with our readers.
I'm getting excited now that we were reading and sharing it with everybody. That's really fun, because it feels like we've been holding this big secret, for a while, and now I finally get to shout it out. So
it does feel like that, doesn't it? It's like we're really not trying to be coy when we say we're working on this.
No,
and there's the story there. It's like we're doing it as not as fast, as fast as we can, which is time, and
as fast as we should,
as fast as we should. And because the story, this is one of the things I've been thinking about in terms of our process and our temporally bound practice, which is a little bit at a time, gradually over time, is we're in time with a good deal of the story revealing itself in current events, as Casey was just suggesting. And that means, as the world is changing so fast right now, it's terrifying. But that as each of our acts is a different year in our real live time, the feeling of what it's like to be quite literally incarnate in time and have the revelation take time. I think that's, for me, the huge problem that the AI is premising is to collapse time, that we won't have time anymore. It's exactly what the mage promises them when they go through the wheel. It's like, can you beat time? Can you live without the beating in your heart, a beating in your chest, without your heartbeat? Well, no. And yet that is the huge temptation. And when we wrote that back in 2022, 23, when we were writing Act 1, the AI was just on the edge of everybody's attention. So we didn't even mean that, but it's actually it's actually clearly what going through the wheel they thought would happen, that they would escape from time, we endeavor to show you that that is not the full mystery.
And Stern jumped through the wheel to get his timepiece back. Ooh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Time is a big part of this mystery. For sure. For sure. Ooh, okay. I hope everyone's intrigued. I hope you're all shopping right now. We'll links in the description as usual to our website, to our newsletter. Keep up with the newsletter. We've been 2 weeks ago. We posted the reading guides that we wrote. I wrote for Act 1, which is on the layers of meaning that we're trying to play out in our very Dantean story, right? The Divine Comedy is supposed to be on the 4 levels of Scripture. Well, so is this. And last week, Casey did a meditation on
Holy Saturday.
Right. The zombie apocalypse. Time. Being
AKA
in time.
The zombie apocalypse.
AKA the zombie apocalypse. And, there's a lot of unpacking, which we hope you guys are going to enjoy in sort of playing with what we've been trying to make available to a modern audience. Like, what does it take for a modern audience to find itself in the same story that we're trying to show you? He wants her back, and we'll stop at nothing. Right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. See you next week, and we will be back next week, but not the week after. But anyway, watch the notices in time.
We'll be here next week.
We'll be here next week. Good night.